Yep. Still doesn't want to stay. There we go. Okay. Okay. So I'm just interviewing you on your teenage life.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to get it compared to what it is now, basically,
All right.
sort of. And I just got 20 questions I have to ask you. Okay, let's see. What was the main way of transportation?
We walked a lot and car.
Car, okay.
Mhm.
By the way, this is not like the video is just for me to remember or take notes from.
Okay.
But so you walked a lot. What was if you went to school? What would you? What would if you went to school? Would you normally drive or would you normally walk?
No, I almost always walked until I got into high school, and that school was too far away. And sometimes I had friends that would drive me, or I would drive, but we didn't have a second car.
Yeah. Did most people walk?
Or people that live far enough away took the bus.
Yeah. Okay. What was your school like?
It was in the Mojave Desert, so it was not a city school. It was on a just off a military base.
Was it like sandy area?
It was very sandy, lots of tumbleweeds, not a lot of greenery, but it was very good academically because there's a Naval Weapons Center there where there were a lot of intelligent people that designed missiles and that kind of thing. So the quality of education was very good, and it was not, the buildings were nice. It wasn't run down or anything.
It wasn't like it was air conditioned sort of.
Oh, everything was air conditioned. Yeah, because it was very hot.
Okay. Was it a big school? Like how big? Do you remember how much kids were there?
I'm trying to think. There probably were maybe 300. 250, 300, so kind of a mid-size.
And how close is it to your town area place?
It was, I lived on the Navy base, China Lake, and then there was a town outside the base called Ridgecrest. So it was just outside the Navy base area. It was, so the city kids from Ridgecrest could go to it, and those of us that lived on the base could also go to it.
Okay. Is life harder now, do you think, just for like a kid? Now, or do you think it was harder back then? Do you know?
I think there are a lot more pressures on kids today. I felt like there wasn't so much materialism and kids, TV and all the media that tells you that you have to have things. So life was a little simpler, and I think we did, we did things that were simple and fun and but very interactive. So there wasn't just. We watched TV, but not that much because it was fairly new.
Yeah.
But I think kids had a good time.
I'm just gonna make sure the video is going. I don't want to do this and have it. Okay, it is good. Okay. What were your plans for the future, and why?
Okay, so I knew from the time I was a little girl, I knew two things. I knew that I wanted to be married and I wanted to be a mother. I really love children, so I always knew that was my highest thing, was to be a mother. And then I also wanted to be a teacher because I love children. So I knew probably from my middle school years that I wanted to train to be a teacher, elementary school.
Did you do that at all?
I did. I got my degree from Oregon State University, and then I taught for 4 years until your mom was born.
Yay.
So, yeah.
What was the most innovative thing in your time?
Innovative?
Yeah, new or just the coolest, like now if there was flying cars, it'd be basically like that.
Let me think about that. Well, space travel was really big in the times like my high school, middle school years. So Sputnik and the Cold War with Russia, and there was a race to the moon and all that stuff. So yeah, I would think space technology was just really blooming and
was there phones? There wasn't phones, was there now?
Yeah, there were phones. They were like your landline, but they're very different than what we have today. But yeah, communication was still by phone.
So it was basically the space theme thing.
I think that was
really
the
cool.
most changing. Yeah, because a lot of technology that came out of space exploration did spun off into a lot of other discoveries and
Mhm.
like the place I grew up, like the jets were breaking the sound of what is it?
I don't know.
The sound barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they developed all these missiles and stuff. So yeah, that was probably the biggest thing.
Okay. What did you do in your free time?
Well, I spent a lot in high school. Spent a lot of time with friends and just hanging out like kids do today too. I enjoyed. Was on the cheer squad, so that was kind of fun. And with, of course, as girls, we got together and talked about boys, and we hung out with boys and went out on group dates and that kind of thing. I studied piano, so I played piano some, although I didn't love it, so I didn't stick with it. I like doing things with our church youth group. That was fun.
Okay.
So that kind of stuff. And as a family, we didn't go and do a lot of those kind of things because Linda was handicapped, and so we weren't able to go out and do a lot of camping or anything like that.
Okay. One question is how did you get to school? You sort of already answered that one. What was the fashion like as a kid? What was the biggest fashion?
Okay, so probably like when I was in high school, bell-bottom pants.
What's that like?
They're straight and then they bill out at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
And people wear those today. But bell-bottoms were real big, and then they started wearing mini skirts, real short skirts. And guys wore Madras plaid shirts. The surfers kind of started that. So they were these great plaid shirts, like from India. The colors would all bleed together. That was very cool. Then the girls got into halter tops, so they were short, and so your stomach showed. But we of course couldn't wear those to school. And one thing, it's kind of interesting that we couldn't wear pants to school.
Why not?
And they didn't feel like it was appropriate. And even in college, we couldn't wear pants to school. If we had pants on, we had to cover it with a coat or something. And that was even in college, and that was sorority. That was one of our rules.
That's weird pants.
Yeah, I think part of that is, I know when I used to teach, sometimes we'd go on field trips and we'd let the kids dress more casually. The more casual the dress, the worse the behavior. So if kids were dressed up nice, and say the girls had nicer clothes on, and the boys were dressed more nicely, they behaved better. It's like uniforms in school. So yeah, I think that was the thought behind it.
Okay. What was going to church like? Did you go to church?
Yeah, I started going to church when I was probably in first or second grade. I went with some neighbors because, like I said, my dad didn't go. My mom couldn't go because she was caring for Linda. So some neighbors took us, and I loved being at church as a child because I heard that God loved me and that I was valuable, and some messages I really had never heard before. So I loved going, and we had a girls group. It was called Girls GAs, Girls Auxiliary, I think it was Girls Auxiliary. And that was really fun. We went on some trips and did some things like that. So I loved that, and then I had friends at church too, so it was fun. We did things together. We played Spin the Bottle once, and the church was being constructed, and we were just little twerps, and we skipped church and played Spin the Bottle. So we weren't exactly angels.
Was it still in the military base area, sort of?
What?
With the church?
It was out on Ridgecrest, which is right outside. And the reason they had to do that, because to get on the military base, you had to have military clearance, and you had to have a pass with your picture. And so you had to have it in a neutral spot, like the school, the churches, the stores. So those were all outside the military base.
Okay.
Yeah, but they were right next door. I mean, just right next to one another.
How was shopping different? Was it different?
Oh boy, yeah, it sure was. On the Navy base, there was what was called a PX, and it was a military store, and you could get things for really good prices. but only people that lived on the base could shop there. But like you could get a soft drink for $10, and it was real cheap. But then if you went outside into Ridgecrest, there were some stores there, but mostly we shopped from Sears and Roebuck catalog because there wasn't much to shop from, or my mom made our clothes.
Okay.
So yeah, shopping was real different. Of course, there's no internet.
There was no credit cards or anything?
No, you paid cash for everything.
They had coins, right? There was coins,
and people didn't go into debt.